Hello, everybody. My name is James D. Lee. Yeah, I'm actually making two videos today, which is really funny. Okay, so as you know, Star Wars: The Acolyte is done. It's over. It's gone. I did not get to see a lot of this show at all, huh. But what I did get to see, I was like, not too sure what's going on here. So let's just take a look at it for just a second. Now, I am Christopher Lee's distant cousin. That's right, Count Dooku himself. I'm his distant cousin. I am a successful horror author and artist. I do my own horror stuff. I have my books on Amazon. You can find them on my website. Just going across here, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart. You can find my books everywhere. Okay, so here we go. The Acolyte costs $180 million plus $50 million for promotion. That's $230 million. Okay, for 8 episodes. That's a lot of money. That is a whole lot of money. How much money is that? That's more than Godzilla minus one's entire movie budget per episode. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, I didn't get to see a lot of The Acolyte, but I did get the premise idea of what it is. And basically, what I'm going to talk about today is what I would, as an author, writer, have done if Kathleen Kennedy had come to me, gave me that kind of money, and gave me the same premise of the show. Premise of the show basically is this: you have a murder mystery of a Jedi, you have Plagueis, and you have to figure out how he figured out how to create Anakin. That's basically the premise. Okay? Besides all the other stuff, that's basically the premise. So, this is what I would have done. And the other thing is this: if you give me $180 million for a TV program, my budget per episode is going to be around $5 million. $5 million. Okay? Think about that for a minute. That's 23 episodes. 23, not 8, but 23. That's a lot of money. Okay? I'd have done it in 23 episodes. I'd have done it better in 23 episodes. Not 8, but 23. And that would have probably kept Disney's viewership way up. So, how do we start this out? First off, you're going to start it not like they did The Acolyte when I saw it. I'd have started it on Deathmere. Why? Because of the Witches of Deathmere and the Night Sisters. I'd have introduced 3 major characters. Number 1, Gesron. Number 2, Bertha. Number 3, Talzin. Who are they? Gesron, Bertha, and Talzin are probably the most powerful Force users outside of the Jedi and Sith that have ever existed. Talzin is actually the mother of Darth Maul, if you didn't know. Gesron and Bertha are the 2 Night Sisters, the main ones. Okay, very powerful. Even Sidious feared Gesron. Okay, what do they do? What's so important about them? What they would have done was to have used the Force in a magical way, along with a Zabrak slave male, to infuse the Force and create life into Talzin. Talzin would have given birth to a girl. This is this is how you would do it. Instead of that bullshit 1 and 2 and 1 and 3, and you'd have done it this way. Okay. Now, with this being done, basically it's like artificial insemination, but manipulating it with the Force. This makes a whole lot more sense than what they did in the show. The child grows up with the witches. This is where you don't see this stuff. Okay? As the child grows up, she starts learning the magical ways. This is where she gets her Force whip. She carries it, not the Jedi. Why? Because the only ones that ever carried it were the Night Sisters and the Witches of Dathomir. They're the only ones in the books that ever used the Force whip, the lightsaber whip, the light whip. They're the only ones, period. There is nobody else. Okay? So now we're moving on to where we're supposed to be in the story. We now move to Korriban. Korriban is the ancient Sith world that all the Sith race, yes, the Sith were a race of people that were annihilated by the Jedi. This is where all their ruins are. This is where the ghosts are. This is where everything is of ancient stuff. Here we have the young Sith, the Acolyte, going through one of the tombs. He's looking for anything he can for his master, which you haven't seen yet. You don't see him. You haven't seen him, so you don't know who he is. While he's there, he runs into the girl, who is also a treasure hunter. He starts chasing her. They leave from the planet, and they arrive on another world. At this world, this is where the Jedi get involved. The girl who's trying to escape from this character, who we know is the Sith, runs into the Jedi Master in an alleyway, or a dark city where it's raining and really dark and everything like that, not in a bar. She doesn't like the Jedi because she knows the tales of what they did to the Night Sisters and the Witches of Dathomir in the past, and the war that came between them. Here she fights the Jedi Master. Here she kills the Jedi Master. But she's seen doing it. So she panics and runs. She gets into a shop area like this, and this is where our Sith is. Now he's not masked or anything like this. Now he's being himself, his day persona. He manipulates her into finding 2 other documents that he knows is on this world. And then he'll tell her where the powerful thing is. She agrees. Well, as she's doing this, here come the Jedis. So she panics and she goes with him to Dromund Kaas. Dromund Kaas, he reveals that he's a Sith. Red lightsaber and all. And he explains what Sith are, everything to her. And how they're not Jedis. She agrees to work with the Sith. She is getting manipulated by the dark side. She's becoming more sensual. She's becoming more radiant. The dark side works to your emotions, and she is becoming this matrix of beauty, of everything. She's using the Force to do it. And her mind is starting to get warped. When she finds out that he is after the scrolls of the Witches of Dathomir, she decides to help him because she does not like what the witches did to her when she was a child. This is where the flashbacks come back. And you see the harsh livings that the Witches of Dathomir do. They're Amazon warriors. They treat men bad. They treat men as trophies. They enslave men. They do a lot of things. They are warlike. You see them fight with the witches, the Rancor riders. You see them raising the dead. You see them doing stuff that is unnatural, that is pure dark side, which is canon, which we saw in Clone Wars. We see it in things. She wants vengeance on them. So she goes with the Sith Lord, the young Sith, back to Dathomir. But she is betrayed by the Sith. The Sith find the scroll. He leaves and goes back to Dromund Kaas. She shows up at Dromund Kaas. They get into a fight. Just as the Jedi arrive, because they've been tracking them the whole time. As they get into a fight, the girl flees back to Dathomir. She's got the scroll. She's taking it back. The Sith has escaped. Nobody knows where he went. The Jedi go to Dathomir. The Jedi get there. They encounter the witches. This is where the big fight happens. The witches hold their own. The witches actually overpower them, just like they did when they faced Yoda 100 years before that. The Jedi fall back and retreat. And the Jedi go back and tell the Council. This is where Yoda stands in and says not to return to Dathomir because he made an agreement. This is where Yoda comes out and explains when he was younger, before he became the Jedi Master, he went to Dathomir and got beat and made an agreement with the witches, not the Night Sisters, the witches, to hold on to a Jedi archive. This is important because this is where Luke gets his archive to start his school. The white book that you saw in the movies that Disney's done, most likely that's the Book of Law by Alia. Okay, that's one of the main books that Luke uses to teach with. Now, while this is going on, the girl has been tasked to retrieve the scroll, or not ever returned to Dathomir by pain of death. She goes and tracks him down to Korriban. They fight on Korriban. She wins. She's got the scroll that tells about force manipulation into creating life. The one that they used to create her. At that point, Plagueis shows up. As the young Sith is getting up after his defeat, she turns and Plagueis kills the young Sith. Because he is weak. He is not worth being a Sith. Then he gives her a choice. She accepts his suggestions and hands him the scroll. And that's where season 1 ends, as she joins Plagueis. That's how I would have done the entire first season of The Acolyte. That would have been fantastic. That would have been great. You would have gotten more history of the Star Wars universe. You would have seen these strong female characters of the witches and the Night Sisters, and why Palpatine feared them so much, and why the Jedis had so much trouble with them. Not the stuff they did in the show, which was pathetic. You would have seen the Rancor riders of Dathomir. If you don't know, the witches of Dathomir ride Rancors like a cavalry unit into combat. They're that good. They're that badass. This is how I would have done Star Wars Acolyte. This is what I would have done. Okay? For this show. I would have made it dark. I would have made it gritty. I would have used Dromund Kaas. I would have used Korriban. I would have used Dathomir. I would have used planets that people want to see and love. Not new planets that are just made up. And no, I wouldn't have used Cowboy Bebop as an excuse or anything like that. I'd have done it this way. because this would have given Plagueis what he wanted. He had a young Acolyte. And not only that, when Sidious comes in and he gets Maul, why would he get Maul? Because Maul is her brother. Maul is also Talzin's son. You'd have had a connection. It would have fit in with the movies, and it would have run Star Wars perfectly. But again, he didn't do it. This is where good writing and good ideas and good storytelling come in compared to what the political driven stuff that he did. If you like what I said, let me know. I have other stories and ideas, especially when it's wrapped around the Night Sisters and the Witches of Dathomir. I do love them so much. They're wonderful characters. I think we can do a lot. I think Star Wars could do a lot with them, especially in the Old Republic days when they're first forming their story of how they found it and everything like that. Would have been fantastic to tell, especially in animation or in TV series or movie. I think that would have been that would be fantastic movies. But let me see what you think. Drop me a line here on YouTube. Drop me a line on the Twitter, because I'll link it to Twitter, and we'll go from there. Like I said, this is different. I'm not talking about investments. I'm not talking about anything. I'm showing you how I come up with things when I write. Like when I write my horror stories, when I write stuff, I look at everything that I enjoy and I put into it. And I am a lifelong Star Wars fan. I was there day one, 1977. I was a little bitty kid. I walked in, I saw Star Wars, and I was like blown away. And then in 78, 79, when they did the tours, I stood in line. I got everybody's signature. I'm talking Peter Mayhew. I'm talking Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford. I got everybody's signatures when I was a kid. I got them all. I got them on the wall. Okay, so thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me a link. Ask me some questions. Ask me if you like my. Tell me if you like my idea or not. Who knows? Maybe Disney will pay attention. Maybe Kennedy will pay attention. You have to wait and see. All right. Catch you later. Have fun. Till next time. Bye-bye.